improvisation on the changes to Solar by Miles Davis. I'll talk about some basic things on this tune to get you started with it if you haven't already, or just give my perspective on it. But I want to introduce you also to this new series if you've been following the channel for a bit. So a little bit of background, I've been releasing melody videos and maybe with some chord changes in there as well, but some instruction on playing tunes, and I'm compiling a long list. I've got a playlist on that, so I'm trying to offer some things there where folks can get a really basic idea of the tune, something very close to maybe what you'd hear on a recording or see on a lead sheet. And last year I did that on a weekly basis, and I plan to continue that, but I've wanted to add just kind of informal, casual question answer, playing a little bit, and just chatting on current topics. So that's what this is all about. And I was thinking, what do I want to talk about? I don't have a lot of questions so far. Here we go, just turned 2026, and we've got this big splash in the jazz community or jazz guitar community about the self-taught guitar legend. So I thought I'd talk a little bit, rather than talking about any drama or any interpersonal things, to talk a little bit about playing on jam sessions and what to experience there, or what to expect, right? So it's all kind of about what your expectations are, and understanding a little bit of the history is helpful too. So let's start out with the perspective of the club owner. So if someone's operating a restaurant or a bar, they need to cover their expenses and maybe turn a profit as well. What they're doing is offering something to gather folks in, and they're going to operate, a business. And then you have the musicians, professional musicians, who are hired to play. And so some of these are jam session type situations. And what typically happens there is you've got a house band or a particular group that gets paid. And they may play one set, they may play two sets, and then they open it up for folks to join in. So if you're a player and you're trying to get some experience, this is great, but it can be a little bit frustrating because you probably have to wait until late at night. As a guitarist, you might feel like, do they have an amp or not? So I saw at Smalls, it looked like they do have an amp there just sitting available for use. So that's a great thing. Now let's say you didn't have this opportunity at all and you wanted to get some experience. Well, you'd probably have to hire that band. You may have to rent rehearsal space. If you're in New York doing this, that could be very expensive for even just one session. So the first thing I would say as someone approaching this is that this is a really good opportunity, and I wouldn't view this as something that you're personally entitled to. So I think just having a little respect of the situation and the opportunity, a little bit of gratitude on that. Okay, and I watched the video. I would say for the most part, the band and the different players, I don't know who is who because I don't really follow this scene, but they seem pretty gracious overall, and they seemed like they tolerated a lot. I would guess if you track the history of jam sessions, this one was way more forgiving than ones in the past where if someone was struggling, they might throw a cymbal on the floor and you're out. It's pretty brutal. So I'm going to talk about a bunch of things that you can do to maybe not irritate that house band. One thing is amplifier. If you're bringing your own cable, unplug the cable from the amp first, and don't unplug it from your instrument because it's just obnoxious. It's a noise, and who knows, maybe it creates wear and tear on that amp over time or that speaker. But even then, it's best to really turn it off or turn the volume down to 0. And this helps to solve the problem of unplugging from your instrument if it's a shared cable. If there's another guitarist on stage, just maybe wait your turn. If they've played a few and you're feeling like, you're due for a turn, definitely ask them. And I think that went fairly well. But don't start requesting tunes of the guitarist that's on stage. Let them do that, let them handle that. And that's another whole thing about this is I wouldn't recommend calling guitar specific tunes. You want to focus more on horn-based tunes and research the jam session a little bit ahead. So maybe attend it if you can, or since it's live streamed, what are they playing? You can go and listen in. Oh, what tunes are they picking? What tunes they like to play? What tunes does the house band play at the beginning that you're probably not going to want to repeat after? So little things like that. Learn about solo order. So generally, the horns play first. So wait for it to go through all the horns that are on stage before playing. That's just a conventional thing. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but that's just the way things generally happen. And then it goes down the line of the rhythm section after that with bass and then drums ending it out. And then when you trade fours, don't solo on the drummer's 4 bars. Another thing, especially if you are not familiar with a pianist, just trade with them. So let's say trumpet players playing a solo and the pianist is comping, just let them comp and then look at them at the end of that solo. And if you want to comp, then play rhythm on that part and then just trade it off. Otherwise, play very sporadically and just try to be sensitive to what the pianist is doing. And if you play the melody of the tune, it's good to continue on and play the solo after that perfectly fine. Make sure if you say you can play the melody that you can really play the melody. Make sure you can play it 100%. No flubbing, guessing, sounding it out. In these situations, I'd recommend playing everything from memory, so these should be known tunes in your repertoire, and if you don't know a tune, just sit out. Just stop playing or just move off stage, perfectly fine. If you have a lot of tunes that you personally like to play, really what you should do, if you can afford to or you can get this going, is to hire musicians to play and get a gig somewhere. So if you want to call Spain, you should call it in your own band and maybe have rehearsed it, and that can be part of your repertoire. But don't treat the jam session like a rehearsal. Go there to have fun, take some solos, and get some experience. Look for visual cues. I think that was the case actually in the video that I watched. Don't heckle anybody. Don't verbally compare. Everybody can hear. Everybody knows who's doing what and can hear different levels of playing. It doesn't really need to be talked about. But yeah, keep it positive. If you hear somebody do something you really like, absolutely reach out to them and say, wow, that was really cool. Have an idea of the number of choruses you intend to play. 3 is a pretty good number. That way you can get a sort of an arc to your overall solo and have a beginning, middle, and end. You can state the melody or just the tail end of the melody as part of your ending phrase. That gives an aural cue to folks that you're most likely wrapping it up, and then somebody can think about playing the next solo. Also watch for visual cues. You can hand off the next solo by just making eye contact with someone else. A couple things about the guitar choice, on this particular video. It's a Dreadnought steel string guitar with a sound hole pickup. I was surprised at how good it sounded, actually, just tone-wise. So for me, perfectly fine. But some things there, cut off or wrap up the extra string at the end. It's just, you're moving the thing around. You want to hit somebody in the eye, just to be courteous of others in a crowded space. Be aware of your body language and what you're communicating to the audience and other members of the band. So at one point, I think it was a trumpet solo, this individual was like getting impatient to solo, just started leaning on the piano, and, looking bored and irritated. Listen carefully to what other people are doing, and if your attention wanders, just really try to bring it back and focus on the interaction with the band and everything. Playing wise, you want to develop a little bit of ability to play through the changes and develop some language that shows that you've studied a little, at least a little, of the history of players and how they tend to construct their lines. Another thing is to connect deeply with the rhythm section. The rhythm section, I would say for the most part, really sounded nice and gelling together. Having your playing, timing-wise, work out nicely with the rhythm section is important, and this is something that guitarists, I think, generally struggle with. So that's kind of my take on jazz jam sessions. I've been to a bunch. I've played them in different cities. Oftentimes, if I'm new to an area, I might attend some just to get to know folks a little bit. If I play a concert or something, I may go and sit in on a couple tunes just to kind of get that interaction with other humans. It really helps your playing. So I think in the next video, maybe next week, I'll talk about the self-taught phenomenon and some of my opinions and my take on that. All right, well, please leave comments down below, your thoughts, your experiences. I really appreciate it. That's what this series is all about. Let me take a moment to talk a little bit about Solar. I plan to do a melody video on this for this coming Saturday's release. Let's talk through some of the changes here. We have C minor. So we're in the key of C minor, so one chord. You can play C minor 6, works really nice. C minor major 7. That's part of the melody there. So be aware of definitely the area between the 6 and the 7. And if you're playing this in a jam session, try to have your ear out for those tones. We have a 2, 5 to the 4 chord, which is major. That becomes its own 2, 5 to E flat, which is the relative major, or the flat 3 chord. And this is just kind of a cascading pattern that happens. We get minor, E flat minor at A flat 7 or A flat 13 to the D flat major 7. So if you can play 2-5 in F, a 2-5 in E flat, and 2-5 in D flat, then you're going to be in pretty good shape. And then we get into the minor 2-5 in C minor. So a few things that you want to be equipped with there. Melodic minor, the C melodic minor scale. Okay, and then the F major scale. Play a 2-5 in that key. E flat major scale. Be able to play a 2-5 in that key, and in D flat major, play a 2-5 in that key. And then, of course, back to the 2-5 and minor. A good starting point there is to be able to play C harmonic minor for the 2-5. But at the beginning of this video, I'm stretching out in a lot of different ways. I may be playing altered scales and that kind of thing. But remember, scales are for practice and phrases are for playing. So practice scales so that we are aware of where the notes are essentially and some of the mechanics behind constructing phrases. And then when you go to play, you're free to create as you hear it. All right, folks, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. This is going to be kind of a casual hang. I hope you like it. I hope the folks that have subscribed over the years enjoy this, and I'd really love to get to know you better, and hopefully you can get to know me a little better as well. But we will be keeping on with our regular melody videos. So this is just kind of adding to the whole experience of the channel. Enjoy your practice session, and I'll see you all in the next one.